There we go. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sam Jennerjohn. I am here in Delaware County as the Youth Mentoring Coordinator, and I'm with Helping Services for Youth and Families. All right, just some light housekeeping. If you haven't already, please sign into the chat box. Like I said, this presentation is going to be recorded. You are welcome to use your video, but you don't have to. You can keep your screen black if that's what makes you happy. Just make sure you mute yourself, and then we won't have distractions in the background. And then after the presentation, if you would like a recording and the PowerPoint, we can send that to you as long as the email's in the chat. All right. Whoops, let me go back a second. Decided to get a little happy with myself. There we go. All right, so youth mentoring strives to navigate youth away from risky behaviors. Here in Delaware County and then Howard, Almaquee, and Winneshiek, we serve youth ages 6 to 16. We have school-based, community-based, and here at West Delaware, we have the after-school program. So lots of different opportunities to volunteer. I love these pictures. These are from a couple of my community-based matches. One of them was at a group event, and one of them was them after trick-or-treating. All right, some things we're going to cover today. We're just going to go over like quick definitions, how it's linked to risky behaviors, how to talk to the youth about bullying, and some local resources. So bullying, a significant problem in our youth. So who it can affect can be children, adults of all ages. It doesn't affect just one specific age. What is it? Bullying, it's, to seek or harm or intimidate. When this is happening at all hours of the day, not just at school, not just out on the playground. Now we have social media, and these things are taking place at home, overnight, when they're getting ready for school, all hours of the day. Why this happens, a lot of it's from power, popularity. There could be negative things happening in that individual's life, and they end up lashing out. Like I said, this is happening on social media, schools and school functions, parks, bus rides, at home, the grocery store, basically anywhere and everywhere where we have interaction with our peers. Feelings. So what feelings do you guys feel when you're personally bullied, or if you listen to like your child or mentee, if they come to you with these problems? And you guys can either unmute yourself when I have these questions, or you can put it in the chat box, whichever one you guys are comfortable with. But if you've ever been in a situation where yourself have felt bullied, or if your child or mentee, how does this make you feel?
And some feelings in the chat are sad, insignificant. That's hard to say. Scared, angry.
Yeah, these are all
worried.
Yeah, that we're feeling, that also these children or the mentees or our peers are also feeling. So we just have to figure out different ways that we can support our peers, our children, our mentees. Unhealthy and risky behaviors that result from bullying. We're going to talk about like how it kind of ties in with substance misuse in a couple of these slides, and I'm going to have some statistics. These bullying can also result in depression, anxiety, in some rare cases happens with some suicide, which these all stem from whether it's the bully or being bullied. So vaping's my first one we're going to chat about. The Iowa Youth Survey says that 29% of 11th graders in Delaware County have tried an e-cigarette, vape pen, mod box, or other smoking device. In the last 30 days, 11% of 11th graders in Winneshiek County have tried an e-cigarette. So these statistics I am just pulling just to show that these are happening in our schools. The surveys show 6th, 8th, and 11th graders. I pulled mostly 11th graders for this presentation. Next is going to be a scenario. So you can follow along as I read it. And then once we get to the bottom, there's going to be a couple of questions. And like I said, you can put it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and we're going to kind of talk through this. So 5th grade, Jacob has an older brother who vapes. Jacob is curious about it now. Asks his brother if he can try it. Fast forward to school next week. Jacob has a vape in his backpack and is showing all of his friends in the hallway before school starts. His friend group has mixed feelings about it, not knowing much about vaping, but Jacob is the leader of the pack. He's so popular, really good at sports, so he must know the side effects, they are all thinking. Jacob passes the vape around, telling each friend to hit it. The first 2 friends do, and they're all laughing. But once it got to Owen, he said he didn't want to. The friend group instantly exclude him from the circle, saying if he won't vape, he isn't their friend. First question is, what should Owen do? And then the next question is, how can we help Jacob and not necessarily stop the bullying, but if we can think about it before things get worse. So what can we do as adults in this situation if we came out in the hallway and saw this happening?
And while people are thinking about that or typing, there was a question in the chat that asked, is there research linking vaping to people who bully or people who are bullied?
That is a good question. Kathy, do you know if there's any evidence-based research linking both of them together?
I don't know that there's research specific to vaping in and of itself, but there is certainly research that shows that youth who are bullied or those who do bully often tend to go to risky behaviors, which certainly vaping can be one of those.
Yes, that is also what I've read. It's not directly put together, but risky behaviors can include anything from skipping school to alcohol to drugs to abuse. It can lead to anything. And so there's just some scenarios that I'm throwing out there that kind of link together both of those.
And there's some activity in the chat. One person shares, affirm Owen's decision to not vape and do education for everyone. Another person shared, support Owen, even point out to the friends that they are bullying him. As odd as it sounds, they may not realize this peer pressure is bullying.
Yes, I think definitely making everyone aware. I think as kids and they're trying to, fit in and that peer pressure plays in. If we can educate the kids on vaping, on tobacco use, and just being kind to one another and making sure everyone's aware of their surroundings.
And then another thing brought out in the chat, if you have authority, discipline the ones who partook in the behaviors and praise Owen for not giving in.
Yeah, for sure. Our next topic that we're going to talk about is alcohol, and I have some more statistics in here. 52% of youth in Delaware County have tried alcohol, according to the Iowa Youth Survey. 13% of the 11th graders in Winneshiek County have gave people money for them to purchase alcohol. So how are we tying the bullying in with alcohol? It can be bullying for not trying the alcohol, whether it's, at a birthday party, just at your friend's house, celebration, anywhere. Being bullied and turning to alcohol as a coping mechanism is another way that we can tie this risky behavior in with bullying. Here's another scenario for us. Katie and Jessica just got asked to prom by 2 upperclassmen. The girls are so excited and only thinking about the popularity it will bring them. The boys pick the girls up the night of prom and decide to go pregame. This is not in there, but pregame, if anyone was not aware, is just a kind of a term that people use to drink before the event. The girls were not expecting to drink. They've never drank before. Katie tells Jessica these boys will like them more if they drink a couple drinks. Jessica does not want to have a drink at all, but the boys and Katie are calling her names and laughing at her. The next day of school, the boys are still calling Jessica names and laughing at her for not participating with them and Katie. Katie doesn't know what to do because these boys thought she was so cool and that Jessica was lame. What should Katie do, and how should Jessica handle this situation?
Someone shared in the chat, find a group of friends that support her decision not to drink.
Yes. Making sure you're knowing what actual friendship is, and if that friend is not supporting you in your decisions, then it is probably time to rethink your group. We will go ahead and move on. Like you said, making sure she's aware of her friend group. Katie should stand up to those boys if Jessica really is her friend. There are lots of things, but it's until children and the teenagers are educated on not only just alcohol, but bullying in general. I feel like it's kind of hard to attack bullying head on. Sometimes they don't realize that they are being rude to their peers. Marijuana. According to the Iowa Youth Survey, 61% of 11th graders in Delaware County have used marijuana in the past 30 days. 65% of 11th graders in Alma-Key County have used marijuana in the past 30 days. And 16% of Winneshiek County 11th graders have tried marijuana. Scenario 3. So Matt gets picked on every day because he does not have name brand clothes and comes to school with poor hygiene. His peers do not know that he does not live with his parents and spends his nights taking care of his grandma, which causes it to be late hours and some nights can't make it to the shower. After day in and day out of feeling like he doesn't belong, he has no escape and he turns to smoking marijuana. What should Matt do instead of using marijuana to cope? How can we educate and teach our peers that we all have feelings? I think a way we can educate and teach kind of our peers is using our personal experiences. Even if, you sort of might have to tweak them to fit the situation a little bit better, but it's really personable to the person you're talking to. If you can relate somehow and make them feel like they're not alone, we're in this together, and maybe teach him different ways to cope with his feelings. If that kind of sparks any interest on you guys on different ways, maybe he could cope.
One of the thoughts that I had related to this one is like, there's even different ways to think of it. How would I react if I was a teacher at his school, or I was the janitor at his school? Or how would I react if I was his friend? I mean, or even he was in my math class kind of thing, because it says he doesn't have a lot of friends kind of thing. There's a lot of perspectives in looking at this. And then too, like, does he have a teacher that he's really close to, or does he have a mentor he can talk to? An aunt or somebody, or
Social media. I think this is kind of a
real quick. There was something that got shared. To let him know he's not alone, and maybe provide resources such as caregiver support group. Yeah, I thought of that.
Yeah, awesome. So going to social media, which is something that I think is a really big problem with our youth with cyberbullying. Some different platforms, which I'm sure most of you have heard of these: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Visco, TikTok, Snapchat. I'm sure there's more out there, but those are the ones that kind of stand out to me. And getting into cyberbullying, this scenario is two female sixth graders, Katie and Sarah, are exchanging malicious texts back and forth because of a misunderstanding involving a boy named Jacob. The statements escalate in viciousness from trivial name calling to very vicious and inflammatory statements, including death threats. Both girls have come to speak to the school counselor in tears, both angry at what is going on and emotionally wrecked about the things being said online that so many other students in their classes are seeing. In fact, other girls at school are getting involved and starting to take sides, which is leading to additional drama and even some minor physical violence at school. What is something the school or parents can do to help the students? And then should this be taken to law enforcement? I ask that because it states there's including death threats. I'm not sure if many of you are aware on cyberbullying, but that is something along with regular bullying. But if you take screenshots, if you have this evidence, this is something you also can take to law enforcement.
Some sharing in the chat. As a parent, you should monitor your children's online activity. That way you can step in before it gets to this level.
Yes. Yes, I know some parents and some ladies here in my office have talked about, they have, I'm not even sure what the app is called, but it's able to make sure their phone is shut off at a certain time. They can see all the apps before they are okayed to be downloaded. So it is something out there that I think more parents should be aware of so that a lot of this cyberbullying doesn't take place. Just some more facts from the Iowa Youth Survey. These are more on the bullying. According to the Iowa Youth Survey, in the past 30 days, 10% of youth males in Delaware County have either called names, made fun of, or teased another person. This is the same for males in the state. 53% of males said the reasoning was unknown. Iowa Youth Survey also states that in the past 30 days, 19% of 11th graders in Almaquee County said that school staff almost never attempts to stop bullying when they know about it. And then in Winneshiek County, Iowa Youth Survey states that 7% of students, stayed home because they did not feel safe going to school. So just kind of looking at these stats, a lot of times this bullying can be unknown reasons. And if it is unknown and if it's going on and teachers aren't recognizing it, kiddos aren't going to feel safe and they're going to want to stay home, which can lead to those risky behaviors. So what can we do to help? So talking
quick, Sam, before we move on, somebody stated, and a former teacher said, related to the scenario, but also relates to that last slide, was that the school most likely does have rules and guidelines for bullying. And it is interesting that those students said that the teachers don't do anything. And you kind of wonder if the kids' perspective may seem that they do nothing, but they don't know what they really do, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, no, good point. That is, I think there's a disconnect with adults and youth. This is slightly off topic, but at a training I was at, we had youth there, and one of the students had said that adults make him feel stupid, his exact words. So I wonder if there's just a disconnect, and even if there are things in place, and like was stated, students aren't seeing anything happening and they're just feeling attacked all the way around. So yeah, just trying to think of things that we can do to help. The biggest thing is not waiting until bullying is like happening to talk about it. It should be something we talk about, all the time, so that if we talk about what it is and how to handle it, they can recognize it. Having that trusted adult, so whether it is a teacher, a mom, dad, counselor, mentor, aunt, uncle, older sibling, having somebody that you can talk to and keep those lines of communication open. I also thought that this was a great way to kind of chat, whether it's with your mentee or with your child, or even a student that you have a connection with, having thoughtful conversations. So, at the end of the day, talking about the funniest thing that had happened, the best and worst thing that had happened, something new you learned about, like a friend or a peer or a student, and then what would you like to change about your day? So just keeping that line of communication open and maybe asking questions where they don't feel like you're prying too much, but they can also recognize their day. Showing kindness, giving a smile. We all know how much a smile, passing a stranger can brighten our day. Be supportive. So whether it's your friend, if you're a parent, guardian, you should support the youth, and they are smart. They have plenty of feelings, sometimes a little extra feelings with hormone changes, but be supportive of everything they have to say. Also knowing your local resources, knowing that school guidance counselors are there to help you, to help your day go smooth. There are also things with Your Life Iowa that can also help with the substance misuse, and then the suicide hotline 988. Also, just joining youth mentoring. If these kiddos aren't having that trusted adult, then we can, of course, find them one. These are just some examples of some after-school program, a group event of my community-based, and then another community-based that just hung out at the house. These kiddos look forward to these adults, and they open up a lot. I've had one kiddo open up about some things that were going on at home with parents, new divorce, and how she didn't feel like her parents were listening to her because they were too overwhelmed with their own stuff going on. So this mentor shared with me that, her mentee felt comfortable enough to open up about that. So knowing that we make this difference and these mentors make this difference in the kiddos' lives is amazing. And we are always looking for mentors here in Delaware County and also up in Howard, Almaquee, and Winneshiek. Different ways to spread kindness. Give a compliment, open the door for peers, remembering that we're all human and have feelings. Also making sure everyone feels that they're not alone. Like, we are in this together. Encouraging words to your peers, giving a smile, and using your manners. What are some ways that you guys spread kindness in your day-to-day life?
Some examples: smile at a stranger, encourage others.
Yes, those are great.
Helping without being asked. And I'll say having a grateful heart, I think, helps to have that graciousness to realize other people are doing whatever they need to do. Being polite, acknowledging others, saying hi, and smiles.
Yes. I think if we teach our youth more of how to spread kindness, not saying we can change the world, but it all starts somewhere. And if we can get our youth to realize that everyone has feelings and just to be nice, that maybe we can get a start somewhere with helping prevent some bullying. and making sure that all of our youth in our counties know that there is somebody that is willing to listen and back them up and hear them, that they are not alone.
Sam, there were some comments that I missed earlier. I apologize for that. And it was kind of related to, you know, what can we do with kids? And someone shared tough love. Youth don't always think about the level of what they are saying. Hold them accountable, involve law enforcement if needed. Schools need to follow up and not just brush it away. And then another person shared, parents of the perpetrators or the bully person should be notified and told the consequences that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I missed those.
No. Yeah, those are all great ways and things that we need to be thinking about. Unfortunately, I do think there is a disconnect with parents, the school, and the student or students involved. I think if we could find a way for everyone to get on the same page so that we can be kind of that front force field for our students, that would be wonderful. Evaluation time. Kathy is going to put the link in the chat box. We are going to do that. We'll give you a few minutes and then we are going to come back on and we will finish up the last few slides of the PowerPoint.
I did put that link in, so hopefully.
Okay.
Whoops,
you guys
I forgot to press the share. That helps.
Yeah. All right, guys, if you want to take a few minutes and go ahead and get that done for me really quickly, that would be great.
And we've just found that if we don't ask people to do it during the training, that they go on with their day and go, oh, I'll do that later. And if you just do it right now, it's done. And it helps us with our reporting so that we can tell our funders that folks are gaining from the trainings.
Yes. Thank you, Kathy.
Yep.
Okay, as everybody is finishing up, I'm just going to give a quick little spiel on Your Life Iowa and the presentations that Kathy and I have to do. We have a goal to reach 100 adults, and we are asking you guys to help us reach that goal. If you would allow us to do presentations live or via Zoom, that would be wonderful. If you know of a group or employees that would enjoy learning about Your Life Iowa and how it helps our community, that would be something you guys could reach out to Kathy or myself or at Mentoring at Helping Services. Your Life Iowa is a 24/7 hotline that touches base on everything and anything. So yeah, we definitely can do a quick presentation, or we can go more in depth, but we are trying to reach our goal. So if you guys have any ideas on where we can find some more groups, that would be wonderful. Any questions or comments on the presentation today that we talked about?
There is a question in the chat. What is a mod box? It was in one of your slides about vaping.
Yes, I don't have exact on what a mod box is. I do know that if you have seen vapes, the box form, it kind of looks like a rectangle and has the smoking device coming out of it. You can put juice into it. I am not 110% sure the difference between all the vapes. That is just kind of off the top of my head. I'm not sure if Kathy knows or anyone else on here. I apologize for not being able to give you an in-depth answer on that.
And someone shared in the chat that they're also rechargeable, and your description was very good as far as it's larger than what sometimes you'll see a vape pen, and that looks kind of like a pen. There are vapes that actually look sort of like cigarettes, but the mod boxes are a little bit bigger and they're rechargeable.
Yes, they are. They are large. give off big smoke clouds. You can get tons of different flavors for these, and yes, that you do plug them in and charge them. Thank you for whoever chimed in on that. I am still learning everything that there is to know about vaping. I would just like to say thank you to everyone who took the time tonight to join on. I know that this topic is just an ongoing topic in our communities, and it's going to continue to be something we talk to our youth about, and we continue to spread kindness. I just encourage each and every one of you and our youth in our community to just be you. School is a short period of our time, and once they get out of school, not saying that it stops, because we're keeping up with the Joneses, you know, there's always going to be something there, but things do get better. And so I just encourage all of you to reach out to your children, reach out to your mentees, join mentoring if you think that this is something that you could give back to the community, and just let everyone know that you're not alone. And so Kathy and my contact information is on here. And again, thank you all for joining tonight.
And I guess too, I'll just share a little bit too about, you know, one of the things that you shared early on, Sam, was the idea that adults are bullied too. And I mean, I've seen it in my professional life where people kind of come in with their own agenda, and it's their way or the highway, and it's so awkward and uncomfortable. And you know, you really have to kind of, you know, be strong again, and, you know, stand up for what is important. But sometimes in the moment, that's really hard. And I think as adults, we can tell our kids, or those kids that we love, hey, be ready for when it comes, because it is going to come.
Yes.
And as an adult, sometimes I think I forgot that. I was like, oh, school's over, I'm done with that. And the couple times in my professional life when it's happened, I've just been like, oh, crap. I don't even remember what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a really good reminder to tell ourselves that, you know, don't get in those situations where there's toxic people that don't help you grow and don't nurture you and don't believe in you. If they're going to be a bully, then maybe if they're part of a civic group that you're in, maybe don't be in that group. Have another group of people that you really enjoy and stuff. And so I just wanted to say that idea with adults that we also need to be prepared, you know, to stand up for ourselves or to get through a situation and not be overwhelmed with the meanness that people sometimes have. And yeah, we can still show that kindness and everything, but we also need to be ready for it and know what we want to do. So anyway,
Yes.
That's just a thought I had.
Yes.
And thinking of this topic, anybody else have anything that they want to share, an experience that they saw or were, you know, part of, or I know we've got at least one former teacher, a retired teacher that's on the call. Anybody want to share it either in the chat or unmute and talk about anything that kind of is, because this topic can bring up some, you know, very raw emotions.
I would just like to say that we all need to remember that this can escalate. To my grandson in Tennessee had a problem last year with a particular kid on his wrestling team that came up behind him and socked him in the middle of his back. The wrestling coach saw it, did nothing about it. And this year, the same kid pushed him down a set of bleachers. So now they are responding to that. They did. The resource officer in the school got involved, and but as you can well imagine, the parents of this kid think he did nothing wrong. Isaac must have done something. So a lot of it is rooted in the home too.
It is. I do agree with that comment. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
I can share. I had when I first started working here, I had a 7th grade girl come in, and we were getting her ready to become a mentee. And mom was hoping that she could maybe find a new friend group due to she was suspended from school from a physical fight that dealt with bullying. Then that same night, she was at the park, and these girls that the bullying was going on with, they jumped her. She was in my office with a black eye. And the girl did not want to return to school. And as far as I do know, did not return to school. Then she ended up not being a part of the program. I ended up seeing her again. She joined one of my mentors and mentees at my August pool party. And this group of girls that she now was hanging out with, they were a year older, but she was so much more confident. She was able to open up. She was back going to school, just surrounding herself with new friends. And she didn't even join mentoring, but that mentor and mentee kind of took her under their wing. And this parent of the mentee had said that she spends a lot of time there. So it was nice knowing that there are some, community members and parents that do care about the well-being and just relationships with our youth. I thought that getting to see her after a couple months after the summer of not knowing what had happened to her, and see that kind of turnaround within herself without the help really from the school and stuff like that. Just finding that new friend group was really great to see.
A couple of things that were shared in the chat: to remember to offer help to both the bullied and the bully is important. And then another person shared, there's a group called Bikers Against Child Abuse. It's BACA. They help children over the age of 4 who are being bullied, depending on the situation. Also, if they've been experienced child abuse as well. They're a free resource to utilize if it is needed. So it's very good to know about.
Yeah, that's a good resource. I have not heard of that.
Yep. We can put, I know somebody that's in that, we could put people in contact with folks. Another story I wanted to share about with mentoring is we had a boy, this was a number of years ago, that joined mentoring, and he was bullied severely at school. And that was one of the reasons that he joined. And he thought that, okay, this is just another group of people that are going to bully me. And he was actually mentored by a family. And he came to group events, with his family, and was totally expecting to be bullied, and nobody ever did. And years later, he said, this is just something, because I thought for sure I would be. And when I first met him, he hardly spoke at all, to be very honest. And like 3 years into his mentoring relationship, you couldn't keep this guy quiet. He was so, felt so good about himself. And every once in a while, his dad calls me and tells me, because he's married, he's got a full-time job, he's got a very good job, he's enjoys go-karting and then has gotten into stock car racing and enjoys that world as well. And so he kind of just gives me this update on him. And his dad and him have both said without mentoring, he wouldn't be fulfilling his dreams. So good stuff.
Yeah, that's really heartfelt. Yeah. Well, again, thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you to those who shared their stories. Thank you to those who participated in putting stuff in the chats. I just appreciate you all for jumping on and just kind of refreshing our memory to make sure that we keep our eyes out for our kiddos and we spread kindness to all of our peers.